Hi, Minesh Baxi here, and I'm really excited to share with you something which is very, very important to all of us. Now, all of you know that the decade is ending, right? 2019 ending now to 2020. The question is, how do you feel about where you were in 2010? Where are you now in 2019 at the end? And are you really prepared for the next decade, 2020? So today, I'm going to give you some tips on goal setting, and I'm actually looking to work with people who are serious about setting a trend for the next decade. So they are prepared, they're making things happen. So stay tuned, and I will share with you. So the first part is goal setting. You and I always are setting goals. Now, knowingly, unknowingly, because our brain does not function without a goal. Now, sometimes the goals are important, sometimes they are not important. It just depends on the situation. To give you an example, when you and I decide we want to go to a certain location, guess what? We set a goal, right? And the GPS or whatever you are using to get to where you want to go tells you how to get there. And then you execute the plan, which means driving, flying, or whatever you're going to do in order to get where you want to go. So we are always setting goals, and there is something called a reticular activator in our brain which automatically looks to fulfill the goal that you have set. So without going into too much detail about that, the bottom line is whatever you focus on is what you will find. And are you focusing on the right things? And let's talk about that. So I remember 2010 for a lot of year was a tough year, right? 2007, 8, 9, those were not the fun years for some people in business, maybe some families in finances, and there were a lot of challenges. I remember my own challenges, and here is 10 years have gone by. Most of us overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in a decade. So are you prepared for 2020? Now, 2020 will come just like that, and then 2030 and so on and so forth. The question is, what is it that you want to focus on to get where you want to go? So let's just talk about 2020. It's going to be here in a few days, right? And here is what I want you and I to think of. What is one goal? What is one important landmark that if you accomplished by the end of this year, 2019, you will suddenly realize that you will be able to set yourself for a lot better success for the next decade. Now, maybe it's a result you want to accomplish. Maybe it's a skill you want to develop. Whatever it is, you and I have to focus on something very specific. See, our brain cannot focus on a lot of goals at the same time. The brain needs a lot of focus in one area for a while in order to get there. Your car can't get to two destinations at the same time, so can you not. Okay, so what do we need to do? What we need to focus on is to say, what is one most important goal that if I accomplished, I will be able to achieve my future goals much easily. There is a book called The One Thing. Maybe you have seen or read about it. It's written by Gary Keller, famous for the Keller Williams real estate company. And here is the part he talks about. Now, I'm paraphrasing in my words. This is not exactly the words in the book. It is, what can you focus on now that will make that unnecessary or other things easier to accomplish? So ask yourself, what is that? In general, it will be either a skill or a result. So what is a skill? A skill is something you can do well. So for example, if you get really good at goal setting, you really get good at achieving goals, that skill will be helpful for the rest of your life. There is no question about it. My daughter loves skating. So once she mastered the basics in skating, she can skate for the rest of her life. In our case, maybe you obviously know bicycling as well. Once you master bicycling, you don't have to master it again in your life. There are so many skills that are important in our life that once we really, really master, then rest of the areas in our life become easier, or at least that skill is so easy that you can do it over and over and over. So what is one skill that you have that you want to really develop, master, improve to a degree that the rest of the goals become easier? So if you're in business, there are a number of different skills required. One of them is called selling, closing. So if you are a salesperson and you are really not good at selling or closing, and most of you may know that my background was I was a computer programmer. I was not in business. I was not in sales. So trust me, when I started my business, which is 20 years ago now, I was like, I didn't really know much. Now, I had to come from a place of, hey, I don't know. I need to go learn it. I need to find somebody who can teach me the principles of being in business. So if you're in business, one of the areas that you might say that is important to you is selling. One of the areas that might be improvement in sales as well is closing. Because until you get a contract, an agreement, a payment, it's not done, is it? You're not getting paid, and that's not a good place to be in business or sales. So maybe you are one of those people who's saying, I need to master selling and closing. What is your plan in the next few weeks, in the next few days to really master it? Because if you laser focus on it, you will get the skill mastered because it's a learned skill. Now, again, some people say some people can sell, some are self-made, and etc. The reality is very simple. The only reason most people don't like selling is emotionally they can't handle rejection. Emotionally, they can't handle the response, the unexpected response from other people. And unfortunately, it triggers you and me. And when it triggers, we are not really in control. And what that does is we are not able to actually continue the conversation towards a destination of closing. So once you realize that you can emotionally handle whatever is being thrown at you, then you can master sales, which is why selling is first about emotional mastery on our side before a technical mastery of the steps involved in closing. So that's one of the things. The second, maybe you are a leader. You are becoming, more successful, and suddenly you realize you need to hire, train, and delegate. And again, those are skills. Those are not automatic for most people. Now, some people have much better exposure, much better awareness, and they might have developed some of these skills earlier. But if you are somebody who's looking to grow to the next level, hiring, training, delegating are going to be the skills that you and I must master, because if we don't, we have limited time in a day. We cannot do everything possible. So what should we do? We need to find other people, other resources, other systems which will help us simplify what we do, what we can focus on, and have other people help us do the work that is required to be done. For example, if you are in the real estate business, you get a client, well, somebody has to walk through the transaction in order to close the transaction. If you're in the mortgage business, you can acquire a client, but somebody has to go through the processing underwriting in order to get you the final loan for the client. So you and I have to find other people who can help us get the job done. Now, if you are growing faster, you have much more responsibilities. You might have an executive assistant who is going to be helping you. So ask yourself, what is the other skill that you need to develop? And specifically for most businesses, there are going to be three areas, right? Getting clients, managing, which is building a team around you to get the job done, take great care of the clients. And the last is managing money. And you and I need to ask ourselves, how are our skills in those areas? If the skills are lacking, we should focus on developing the skill and the habits in the pursuit of the goal that is important. Now, what gets us more excited is setting a goal, setting a reward-oriented goal. So, for example, your goal might be, hey, I want to make so much money this year. I want to have so many clients by the end of the year. And then you can reward yourself. Maybe you have a trip that you would like to go somewhere, maybe a car, a house, or whatever else you want to do, but have something clear enough. So the biggest problem in goal setting happens is we are not clear enough, not specific enough. That's the number one thing. Unless we are specific, just like when you are driving and a car needs a specific address to go to for directions for GPS, you and I need a specific location, specific goal that we can get to. Once you have that specific goal in mind, you and I must realize that there is something called a comfort zone. And the comfort zone will prevent you from stretching. This is very important to remember. Comfort zone will prevent you from stretching. If you are used to making, and I'm just picking a number, $10,000 a month, and you say, okay, I would like to make $20,000 a month. Guess what? Your comfort zone will prevent you from taking action, which is obviously uncomfortable. Because if you are in sales as an example and you're making $10,000 a month, now you want to go make $20,000 a month, something has to change. Either your strategy has to change, your skill has to improve, or you just have to have more activity. And all of those, trust me, will require you to be uncomfortable. If you are used to doing everything by yourself, but you are somebody who now needs to grow a team, hiring might not be comfortable for you. Training people may not be comfortable for you. Delegating may not be comfortable for you. If you are somebody who needs to make sure you are being profitable, you are making the kind of money you want, guess what? Managing your money, making decisions based on your profit may not be comfortable for you. So whenever you and I set a goal which is a bigger goal than where we are today, remind yourself this may be uncomfortable. Which is why it is great to have a coach and a support system which will help you grow through the process. So let's ask ourselves, what is that important goal I want to accomplish by the end of the year? What is the goal that will help me prepare myself for the 2020? Because here is the biggest part you and I forget. Opportunities are everywhere. The question is, are you and I prepared for it? And if you and I are not prepared for it, those opportunities will go to somebody else. Are you prepared for your opportunity? And that's the reason why I want to tell you very simply here, let us create a system for you and I, where you and I can work together if that's what you're looking for, and tell very clearly enough, let's be prepared, let's set a goal, let's have a burning desire to accomplish the goal, make sure it's a clear result or a skill that we must develop, because eventually when we achieve the goal, we feel good about ourselves, because success is nothing but pursuing a goal that's important to us. Achieving progress that's important towards the goal that you and I want to accomplish. And I keep repeating all the places because this is the best definition I find, is preparation towards success comes only when we are willing to take, preferably daily, very consistently, comfortable steps? No, uncomfortable action steps towards your major goal. When you and I are willing to take daily, consistently, uncomfortable action steps towards a major goal that is important to us, now we are prepared to be successful in that area that is important to us. So let's have a clear conversation with ourselves. Are we really serious about achieving this goal? Are we willing to invest time, energy, and resources? Is it worth it for us? If it is, it's time to really, really focus on it, because eventually that goal will make you the person who can attract more and better results in life. So thanks again for watching. And I can tell you that by just watching this for the last few minutes that you've been watching, you are really serious, you are really committed, and you are somebody who wants better things to happen in life. So I wish you the best for the new decade to come, and make yourself prepared to attract the opportunities, take advantage of the opportunities, because you did what it takes to prepare yourself and make your life a great success. Thanks again for watching. This is Minesh Baxi.